Yes, guys, welcome back to the United Post. It's your host, Kev Beats, and welcome to another episode. Yeah, today there's a lot we're unpacking. Clearly, as you've seen, I think the whole world knows now that, Erik is still Manchester United manager. Crazy change of crazy days. Nobody saw this coming, seriously. It just took everyone by surprise. But for me, it's a good surprise because I never wanted anyone else who wasn't better than Erik to be manager, and clearly that's what the board have seen as well. So I have to give it to the board. People now have a lot to say because it wasn't the most, I can say, common decision for everyone, because most people were sure he was gone. So Erik ten Hag stays manager of Manchester United for the third season. They're also planning on extending his contract, so that's another plus, I would say. So let's break it down in terms of how they came to this conclusion or this decision. So INEOS have to be backed. As I've said, I think the decisions they've made are good for us long term, because these are football guys now who made these decisions. This was not Ed Woodward, a banker. This was not anyone. This wasn't just anyone making the decisions as it were in the past. This is a proper team that came together, decided that Erik ten Hag is not their guy. Is their guy due to very many different stats which we're gonna look at. So first, INEOS backing Erik ten Hag firstly is a show of faith by them to the manager. We have to get that straight. I don't think the manager had a poor season last season. Yes, that everyone agrees. No one denies us having a bad season last season, but even when the season was bad, I still saw a lot of positives in last season. Firstly, the FA Cup win. I know most teams really hurt when United beat City in the final not too far ago. I think about 3 weeks this weekend. Put in an absolutely amazing performance. I think the last games going towards the FA Cup really gave us momentum in how we played. You could see the confidence in the players. It was clear for everyone to see that United looked good. United looked good in those games. So I think this was such an unpopular. I have to say it was an unpopular decision by everyone to stick with Ten Hag, but they saw there was no one better to replace him. We have to see. Well, I guess there's some positives about Ten Hag that most of us don't realize. And before he came to United, Ten Hag was sought after by some of the biggest clubs. It's just that Bayern Munich had just contracted this guy Tuchel. Barcelona had Xavi at the time. I think those are the big clubs that we were linked with. And Erik gave us a green light. Then he showed confidence in us. Our team was absolutely shocking before he joined. I think he had the where I get my faith from is the stability he had in his first season, in terms of he got apart from the recruitment, he got in the players he wanted. A lot of things went well, in the beginning. I have to give it to Erik. So yeah, INEOS have gone against the grain. Clearly not the most popular decision by them to stick with Erik, but it shows how they have realized that changing the manager might not necessarily be the solution. I personally would have gone with any decision they would have taken if it was to stick with Ten Hag. If it wasn't, but clearly they saw that the problem was not the manager. Yes, the performances have to improve. I think his role is going to change eventually to more of the head coach leaving the management of the team, because I think he has to focus now on performances on the pitch more than anything. He has the backing from the board, clearly, as you've seen, and I think it's a statement of intent by the board to say that the players are no longer gonna ride this boat they've been riding for the past few years. The manager has to be backed, and that's a very strong position by INEOS, especially at this time. I really support that. I really support that decision by INEOS to stick around with Erik, because again, a new management team would have come in, would have needed time to settle in. Priorities are still the same, regardless of who the manager was. Erik has a bit more experience in the league. He will get, I think, better players than he's gotten. We just have to move now to the transfer window. Let's look at why INEOS stuck with Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag's tenure at Ajax, focusing on his ability to develop young talent and play attractive football. I think that's the most important thing that we've seen with Ten Hag, clearly. We've seen a lot of young players come through the system. We've seen the likes of Garnacho, Kobe, Kwambala come through and really, really excel, especially Kobe Mino this season. I think the injury at the start of the season really set Ten Hag's plans aback in terms of what he wanted to do with the team. The team got a lot of injuries as well last season. I can see, Erik ten Hag, out of all the guys that we have looked at in terms of profile and style of play, he just has to make it work now more than ever. It's a challenging job, the United job. That's why I really think that Erik now is best suited to show exactly what he can do in the long term. I still believe in him as a manager for sure. I believe he can do well. I think we're just starting. We'll see a lot more from Erik, I'm sure about that. The backing from the staff up there, to me, was such a positive, to be fair. Because if it wasn't for INEOS, I think everyone knows Erik would have been fired in the start, right after the FA Cup, regardless of the win. Same happened to Jose. Same happened to Van Gaal. So yeah, obviously, apart from I think they've seen that he's a coach that can develop young players, play attractive football. In his previous stint and in his first season at United, I think they looked at it holistically in terms of what were the challenges this season that never made the team actually progress, And I think also recruitment was another thing. We started making signings last season, honestly, that don't align with the United that we want. To be fair, the signings of people like Amrabat, I think Amrabat has not had a good stint at United. As much as whatever people might say, I believe he hasn't had a good stint at United, to be fair. He's another one that we thought would really, really step up in terms of gameplay and improving our style of play, but really never happened, to be fair. So yeah, challenges is faced at United. I think one of the biggest challenges is faced at United is okay. Let's look at the challenges. Erik has faced. The biggest challenge for me has to be rebuilding the team. I think in his first season he got it right. He brought in players that even Anthony didn't have a great first season, but he did well. Majority of the season, I think he scored like 6 goals. He had a couple of assists. He never really showed that fire that we saw from him at Ajax, and maybe he's just not it. To be fair, a lot of things apart from rebuilding the team, dealing with high expectations at the club, dealing with the pressure at the club. You could see that at the end of the FA Cup, when he was talking to the journalists, he was literally like biting back at them, telling them how he doesn't appreciate how they really praise someone when they're doing well and absolutely batter them. I think it's something he's learned throughout the course of last season. I don't think he expected the guys to bash him that bad, to be fair, but now he's known. The English media are there when you're doing well and absolutely strike you when you're not doing well. That's one other thing I hope he's learned from last season. I think Erik going into next season is a better option than any other guy, to be quite fair with you. So let's see how what INEOS, this decision talks a lot about what INEOS have in mind and what's INEOS's vision for Manchester United. INEOS's long-term vision for the club and the first decision they've made is Erik ten Hag really shows how Erik aligns with their broader picture for United and their broader goals for sustainable success. I think we won't have sustainable success at United if we keep chopping and changing every single time. There are clubs that did that well. I think that era of football or time of football is done in terms of managers. I don't think it's sustainable for a club, especially of United, of like United, which over the recent past, yes, we've been chopping and changing, but before Alex left, we had one manager for over 20 years. So sustainably for a club like United, historically, we're used to staying with one manager for long periods of time, and this aligns with our history. It aligns with everything we stand for as United. I'm not sure everyone agrees with that, but that's how I see it. It also shows how INEOS do business in terms of their innovation and stability. It's a good thing for me because I was really skeptical of what's next after Ten Hag, if that was the way to go, because Tuchel for me is not a better manager than Erik ten Hag. Pochettino definitely not a better manager than Erik ten Hag. De Zerbi hasn't proved himself in a big club. You can see it with Wenger in terms of Arteta. Arteta didn't prove himself as a top manager at a big club, and that's why it's taking him long to succeed. Would De Zerbi have gotten that chance at United? I don't think so, because they will look at his past and judge him on his past. I think they looked at Erik's past. They saw the kind of success he had at Ajax. He absolutely won. He was coasting through the Eredivisie. And I think in his first season finished third with a cup. Last season, everything wasn't well. So for me, top decision by INEOS. That clearly shows strategically how they're looking at things. Is it maybe a decision to buy back time for maybe a manager they prefer? I'm not too sure, but we'll have to wait and see. I guess everything is just about time. Now it's all about focusing on the transfers in United. That's all we can do. So from a fan perspective, this topic of Erik ten Hag was very, very divided. Um, it was clear that not everyone really wanted Erik, because as soon as this news broke I think it was early in the morning here in Kenya. It was around 1 a.m. I remember I was just going to bed at the time, and I just saw a lot of posts and talk about Erik, and why he's and I just saw the breaking news, and everyone started going live on YouTube. So guys were very divided. I was on the fence with it. I have to be fair. If Erik went, I would see why he'd go. If he stayed, I'd also see why he'd go. I still believe that the players are to blame for most of the chaos this season. Most people think that these players are good enough. Nowhere good enough, to be honest. It's a shambles at United, and I'm glad that we have owners that can actually see that not everything lies on the manager. Yes, a few games this season we didn't play very well. So does every team in the league. And if you have a team where the players are on and off, like Rashford, on last season, people are saying this manager can't work with Rashford. In his first season, Rashford scored 30 goals for United under Erik ten Hag. So clearly it's not a Ten Hag issue. The issue with Sancho, I think, really set us back this season, because Sancho would have not replacing Sancho when he left was a big choice as well, because I thought we should have gotten even a loan signing in attack. We were short. We were very, very short. Martial didn't play anything in the second half of the season. I think he played against Everton. That was in January, if not December. And he was off for the rest of the season. Didn't even feature in the FA Cup. Casemiro being played off position, also him dropping some of his power is gone clearly, as we can see. So it's dividing, to be fair, but I think the right choice was made at United. Some fans see him as a visionary, while others are skeptical of his abilities to deliver immediate success. I think what most fans don't see is that, regardless of which manager came, the expectation was going to be the same. We are not going to win the league next season. If we do, it will be a total surprise. No one would see that happen. The next manager would come in as well, needing time. I totally trust in Ten Hag. It's a gamble, as I've said. It can go either way. It can go good, it can go bad, but I don't think it can go as bad as it did last season. Last season was, I think, the worst season I've seen. But for me, honestly, wasn't the worst season I've seen us play. I think the Ole's last season was the worst season I actually saw Manchester United, because we couldn't win a single game. We could see that in a team that people think the manager is lost, the performances at the end of the season wouldn't be happening. With a dressing room that's divided, United would not win the FA Cup against Man City right after they've won the Premier League for them to go for the double. That would not have happened at all. So I think, a lot of players have a point to prove. INEOS will get rid of a lot of players as well this season. That's one. That's also another thing I believe. So we need to manage expectations more. As I think, as fans, definitely we have to manage expectations more, because we can't. Every manager is gonna come under pressure at some point, and we can't all be every manager out each time they're going through a bad patch. Every manager goes through a bad patch. It's just that we have to look within us. We have to see where our problems lie. Most of these players are still players that have been there since Mourinho. They've never been moved on. That's the crazy thing. Ole, they've never been moved on. So we have to look at so many different aspects before we make a final decision or final conclusion on exactly what went wrong, this and that. That's just my opinion on that. We just have to manage our expectations more and see the importance of patience in long-term success, because without patience, we won't have long-term success. We can't just be looking at success. He has had short-term success as well, so we have to now look at the long-term success. Look at how many years it took Klopp before he won the league. Look at Arteta now. He's going to his sixth season. The only coach who could do it immediately, and he couldn't even do it in his first season, was Pep. And Pep was backed financially. We could see the financial backing he got. No other team gets that type of financial backing in the league. So yeah, we have to manage our expectations and be patient as fans, to be fair. So what are the financial and commercial implications of this? The football fans, Mr. Temba is saying Southgate is coming. Nah, I don't think so. They would have waited till the end of the season. As I've said, if you've heard, I think fans now need to manage expectations, to be fair. We can't keep chopping and changing if we want long-term success. This will give us stability probably for the next 2 seasons, because I've heard, they're working on his new contract. He's gonna be given. He won't be backed and give them material. I think they're backing him. Honestly, I think they're backing him, and it's a proper financial choice. Let's look at how investment, financial and commercial implications. Investment in the squad. INEOS support of Erik Ten Hag could lead to further investment in the squad, providing Ten Hag with the resources needed to strengthen the team. I think that's the most important thing. It's not even about a money thing. It was never a financial thing, because the Glazers are still putting in money in the club. They're just not managing it. That's the thing. So if you guys talk about money, United is not broke for whatever reason. We are not broke. And we're in for, I think we're going to get 5-6 proper incomings. This decision is basically an investment to the squad in terms of Erik has proven for years that he could develop young players. We've seen it with Garnacho, we've seen it with Maino, we've seen it with Kwambala, we've seen it with Ahmad. As much as Ahmad is one of the points where I thought that he got it wrong with Ahmad, but it's not bad for me. In the commercial strategy, INEOS's backing might influence Manchester United's commercial strategy and branding, potentially enhancing the club's market value. I think the backing of Erik is good commercially, because we can now probably set out a strategy for the next 2-3 years without having to move a lot, without having to change a lot. Commercially, it's a good decision. United historically is not known for being a club that chops and changes managers. So, as I've said, us managing our expectations as fans will be crucial to our long-term success. Most importantly, we really have to manage our expectations on certain things, because up until I see a proper lineup of players in that starting 11, I still don't believe we're going anywhere with INEOS. If they don't get rid of certain players, I don't think it's gonna change. So what comparisons did Ten Hag have with other managers? How has Ten Hag done in terms of managing this situation compared with other managers who face similar challenges, and how backing from ownership has played a role? in the success or failure. I think there's certain styles of managers that are there in world football, and we know how they are. A Tuchel, a Conte is one of the managers that, yes, they're going to bring you almost immediate success, but their success is hinged on players who are good now. Their success is never hinged on developing players. Their success is like a Mourinho. Even Pep. Pep is not a manager whose success is linked on building a team. His success is linked on immediate players on the immediate basis. So it's pretty much it's crazy how these things happen. But managing expectation is really key in our move forward as a club. Strong backing, such as I've said earlier, case studies prove that managers need strong backing. To be fair, look at the backing Pep has got at City. I don't think City, if they didn't have the vision of Pep's success, would have backed him in terms of bringing most of the players that he wants. He comes from a club that's very, very organized, well drilled, well organized, to be fair. Look at Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp, I think, got a similar job as Erik right now at United. He just needed time. Liverpool gave him the time. I remember in his first few seasons, no one was even backing him in terms of anything. Everyone was against him, very critical of him. So for me, it's a fair choice. Let me say it's a fair choice. Not good, not bad. I think it's a stable, level-minded choice because, as I was telling Mr. Temba from the Football's Fan Zone, I was telling him that I can see Erik staying. I can see him leaving. The longer they've taken, obviously the doubt grew. So I was thinking probably, they've decided to go to change and move on, as most owners do. But they clearly showed it's Ten Hag, and I'm happy about that. Let's look at the potential outcomes. Best case scenario, with the backing. What do you think? What do you think the best case scenario would be? I think more silverware. To be honest, Ten Hag has proved that he can win trophies every season. He's done that at United. He's done that at Ajax. Every single season, he's won a trophy. So I expect us next season, especially us in the Europa League, I expect us to win that one first. Definitely domestically, he's been to 3 finals. Let's not forget in his first season as well, he got to the FA Cup final, won the League Cup. Couldn't beat City the first time in the FA Cup, but beat him the second time. So I would expect one of the 2 local trophies, either the FA Cup or the League Cup, to come to us, and obviously the Europa League. I expect United to win the Europa League next season. To be fair to all other teams involved, because we are the strong. We will go in as the strongest team. Depending on who drops out in the Champions League, we'll have to wait and see that. But that's the best case scenario, is more trophies. The downside of Erik's hiring could be possibly the continued underperformance, which might then lead to his sacking again. I say he's sacking again because most of us thought that he was sacked, and people are saying Erik is the new Man U manager. But he actually never left. He was Man U head coach. He's been paid. He's still on contract. They're talking about his new contract. So I think there's more ups than downs in this, to be fair. It's not easy for most people to hear that, but I believe so. There's more ups and downs to this than we see. We might. Let's see if next season the same type of performances continue. I think he's gonna have a scope. They're probably gonna give him 1-2 months in the start of the season next season to see where to see where and how the performances are gonna be. To be fair, it's exciting times now. At least we can go into the transfer market with an open mind. We know exactly who's gonna come on. I think the transfer window opens on Friday as soon as the Euros open. The Euros begin. So it's all about the transfers now, the ins and outs. I don't want a strong squad. I want a strong starting 11 next season. I think I've been having this story of strong 11, not of a strong squad. No, I want a strong starting 11. I think that's where a manager can build from, because Erik has never had a strong 11. You can see guys like Scott McTominay has played majority of the season this season. I expect Eriksen to leave. Hopefully McTominay leaves. There's a lot of players in there that either have stagnated or gone down in terms of performance, and they have to leave. Fair, to be very fair. The role of media. I think we all agree that, especially the English media, is one of the most toxic media houses or spaces, in the world in terms of football. In the world of football, I think Spain is close by, but England has to be the worst. The media narrative and the shape of public perception of Ten Hag has been really poor, to be honest. Since January last season, every single game, every single press conference Erik was having, there were questions about his future. From January this year, to be precise. The English media has really done a poor job. Even after winning the FA Cup, instead of backing him or even praising him for that, they just gave him a small congratulations and on to his future. Erik, I like how he dealt with them at the end of the season. He gave them a taste of their own medicine. We've seen it as well, even in the England team when they just lost against Iceland. They've gone for Kobe. Kobe, Saka. I know in the Euros, most of the dark-colored players will be under scrutiny from the English media. If the success doesn't come in, the manager has never really gotten the stick at England, Gareth Southgate, because he's their friend. He's a media friend, and I'm happy we didn't get Southgate, because he would have been. I don't believe Southgate is a better coach than Erik, to be fair. So apart from that, so this is why the club can manage its PR. I think also the club also has to take a bit of responsibility in terms of how the media handled the whole situation. It was very, very poor from INEOS. They let the manager take a lot of heat he didn't need. They have to change that. I think going on forward next season, Dan Ashworth has a big job to deal with the media and control how some of them ask questions, especially at home press conferences. Mr. Labman is saying, I agree. Kobe is a player of Erik Ten Hag. They go after Kobe. That's wrong. Exactly. The whole media, this media thing is really shocking in England, and that's why I'm not supporting England for the Euros, because they will go for our boys. Saka will be hit. You won't see Harry Kane being hit. You won't see John Stones being hit. You won't see Kyle Walker being hit. Foden would get hit, obviously. I'm saying it's a racial thing. It's always been a racial thing with England, because when they do well, you're one of them. If you don't do well, you're a Ghanaian who plays for England. That's how they are. So that's it for the media, man. I'm done with that media, because now Erik is in. Erik is stable. Now we back him. I don't want, if this fan base, if the United fan base really wants success, we have to be behind the manager, to be fair. We can't, it's done. It's done now. There's no more changes in management. You have to deal with that. You have to suck it in if you're happy or not. This is not a winner or loser thing. You just have to take it. This is not the Glazers making the decision. So going into next season, we need positivity around the club again. We can't have animosity at the start of the season because it's going to trickle in. These players on social media, these players see what's being posted. These players are not dumb. These players are not stupid. They see what the media writes about fans, this and that. And we also have to be disciplined in terms of fans. I think they're going to give him a new contract. So that means also at the end of next season, possibly if poor, then they chop him. But it looks like that's their man for the next few years. And I'm totally behind him. Now let's look at the cultural and tactical implications of this decision by INEOS. Ten Hag's footballing philosophy and cultural approach can integrate the traditional values of Manchester United. That's totally true. If you look at how Erik Ten Hag's philosophy is, I was one of them who was totally behind him when he sent Sancho away, because that was I can't say it's all about Sancho. I can't say he was wrong, but I want a manager who's that powerful at the club. Sancho is a player I know can't do well in the Premier League, to be fair. Sancho has proven year in, year out at Manchester United. Manchester United is a different ball game. Liverpool is a different ball game. Look at all these players who used to do well before they joined these two clubs. Look at Diaz at Liverpool. Before he came to Liverpool, I think even United were linked to him. So I think United, these big clubs are different kettle. I don't think Man City are a big club. They are a successful club in the recent past, but they're not a big club. The stadium is empty, literally. If you beat City at home, your fans are louder. That's how it is. At Old Trafford, come win, come defeat, it's a hot place to play in. And not every player can stand that pressure. So I like the philosophy he's using at United. I think now he has to focus more on the style of play on the field more than anything. Let me just read some chats here. The football fan zone is saying, I'm sorry, bro. Kobe was going to ball under any manager. Yeah, that's true. Same for Garnacho. That's true. But which manager would have given them the chance Erik has at United? Mourinho never gave Rashford that chance. You see, so that's what I'm saying. Erik has been backed because of his clear vision of the youth. Garnacho has been played over his best player, Antony, on the right, and he's performed. So that clearly shows that no other manager would have done that. Trust me. A Mourinho would have stuck with Antony. A Tuchel would have stuck with Antony. Most of these guys would have stuck with the experienced players, the proven ones. But Erik decided, this guy's doing well. Come in, play. And they've proven it. These boys are going to die under Erik Ten Hag because he's not going to improve these young lads, man. No other player, no other manager has brought in. How many players has Arteta brought from the youth academy to the Arsenal team? How many? How many that actually start? Not just being on the bench. How many youth players actually start for Arsenal? I think Manchester United is the only club, and Liverpool, because Liverpool had this guy, their right back, when Trent wasn't playing. Ramsey, Ramsey was from the youth, and he came in and played well. Not all managers would have done that. Top managers would have played Gomez or put someone else there. So for me, I think Erik, they looked at that, man. This was not the Glazers making the decision. This is actually people with football knowledge, science, and statistics. They did the case studies and came up with this. I just hope they can release it for the public. Mr. Labman is saying Erik Ten Hag is always doing well in the third season with the club. Yeah, exactly. I don't see him going any further lower than he did this season. So, that's great. Now that the point you guys are failing to see here, the question, Bro, the whole point, Temba, is they've backed Erik Ten Hag. That's the most important point. They have not sacked him. They are going to give him a new contract with new rules. I think he's going to have less power, obviously, but they've backed him. You know. So, and as Labman is saying here, all I know, the Premier League is not Eredivisie, but it's his third season. Very few managers have made it to United in the third season. After, I think he's the first manager that will have made it in the third season, to be fair, full season, because he didn't join in January, like Ole. He's going to be the first manager to get through his third season. And we're going to see better football from last season. The quality of players are going to be better. You don't even see that Martial didn't step up. You get that? This guy used all this use lads cause injury. Bro, you'll be here with me, man. And I remember telling you always that I don't watch football with emotion. I watch football to see if Kobe would not be playing for England if it were not for Erik Ten Hag. You see, Kobe would not be playing football for England. Garnacho would not be playing football for Argentina. It's clear. It's as clear as that. Garnacho in Arsenal doesn't get playing time. Kobe Mino in Arsenal doesn't get playing time. It's just facts. It's just facts. Arsenal are about to lose one of their brightest young players to Bayern Munich because of not starting. I'm not being personal against them. I'm just saying. Because the Glazers... And what happened under the Glazers? What happened under the Glazers, bro? Explain to me what success came under the Glazers. I want to know. Because he's won the exact same trophies and gotten to more finals than any other manager after Fergie. And that's just the facts. I'm not here to kiss his ass or say this and that. I was bashing him this season for poor performances, yes. But looking at the type of squad he had, I think he did well, to be fair. Obviously would have done better, but every team has its own circumstances, and he's managed to get us to Europe, not the Conference League, but the Europa League. Positionally in the league would have done better. That I agree. But I think he's done a pretty good job. No other manager would have finished where he finished, how he finished at United. You can imagine us without a trophy at the end of the season. What would you guys be saying about United? So it's done now. It's done in terms of players, this and that, managers, this and that. Now let's focus on building and supporting this team. I think that's the most important thing. So tactically, there's a lot of things Erik must implement, and which need backing as well from INEOS. I think where we've seen the biggest drop off has been in midfield more than anywhere else. We've been open too much in midfield, and midfield reinforcements need to come. Proper midfield reinforcements need to come. Doesn't have to be the most expensive, because we've done that with Casemiro, which he also had one good season. To be fair, I know Cas is gonna leave because of the amount of money he's getting, but I would keep Cas for one more season. I just wouldn't make him the main guy in the club. But he has to get a few things tactically. I think he needs to get two proper defenders that are very, very courageous in terms of stepping up. When we saw Martinez against Haaland never had time to breathe. With Martinez there, Haaland never had the time to breathe. Martinez is, I think, the only brave defender that we have that has quality on the ball. To be very fair with Varane, I think he also lost a bit of his legs. Obviously, the experience is there, but this league is mean. This league is harsh. if you can't run anymore, man, the league is gonna kill you because these players are quick. The Premier League is like basketball. It's up and down, up and down. So we need to get another player like Martinez. If it's gonna be Todibo, well and good. If not, we need to get someone. I really appreciate this player called Brathwaite from Everton. I think for me, he's gonna be the next big thing. And we're not gonna talk about hypotheticals. What if United get injuries next season? It's never happened in Erik ten Hag's career. This type of thing. This is the first time it's happened. If it happened to him at Ajax, we would be saying, what about next season? Probably INEOS would have looked at it like that. Mr. Temba, he's saying when Man United get injuries next season, he will have that as another excuse. Everyone has excuses, but I don't think yeah, De Zerbi works with average players. That's why he can improve average players. Erik ten Hag works with top players. De Zerbi has never won the league in any country 3 seasons in a row. Erik ten Hag has won a cup at United for every single season. Ever since he joined Ajax, he's won a trophy every season. Irregardless of what happened last season, he still won a trophy. I don't see what you man are about. I'm done talking about Erik ten Hag's future, man. It's finished. I was talking about tactical adjustments. Yeah, I think we need to get two proper midfielders. For me, I think 2 midfielders will help the team. Kobe can be an in and out midfielder, man. I think it still has time. We can't put too much pressure on Mino. Kobe should be gelled into the team a bit slowly, a bit more stable. Yes, he'll be playing every game, but yeah, he can be missing 1 or 2 games. That's my opinion. We're going into the Europa League as well. That needs now a proper squad. I think guys like Mount, guys like Mount, Ahmad, even Anthony will have a point to prove next season in those type of competitions. But in the Premier League, I want a strong 11. I want 2 midfielders. We're being linked with Fofana. I'd get Fofana from Monaco and Onana from Everton. I think those 2 automatically give us a better platform to perform. Getting a strong right-sided defender and a left-back. As I said, my left-back choice is Kirkesh from Bournemouth. He's going to be the next big thing, man. I get rid of Luke Shaw this season if possible. I think Luke Shaw has not played even half the games he's had under his contract at United since he came. He's one player I'm done with. I can't build a team around Luke Shaw anymore. I'd rather go with Kirkesh and Malacia. Malacia is another player to prove himself next season. But also that Atalanta CDM, Ederson, he looks very good. I see Liverpool linked with him, but we'll have to wait and see. In the attack, I just want a striker and a right winger. Simple. We've been linked with Olise. I'm still confident of him joining Man United. Olise and Xerxes, hopefully, the guy from Bologna. If we can get him. There's also this other striker from RB Leipzig, no one talks about, but plays for Belgium, Openda. Man, Openda is good, similar profile to Xerxes. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So what are the short-term versus long-term prospects and predictions? Frimpong. I'm not sure. I'm Frimpong. Unless we get a good enough deal for most of our defenders, we have to sell a lot for us to go for Frimpong. To be fair, a lot of guys have to leave the club for us to add space in defense because we're inflated in defense. We have Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Malacia, probably Evans. So there's a lot of players we actually have to get rid of for us to there's probably one I'd stay with, and that's Harry Maguire if nothing better. But after the Euros, it will be much more. 45 million, hopefully, man. As we've seen, the transfer window begins on Friday, so I expect a lot of business. I think most of the players we want to sign aren't in the Euros, so it would be a plus. To be fair, I think we can get most of our deals done as these Euros are continuing, because if you look at Onana, I think Onana is like the only player. Brathwaite ain't going to the Euros anymore. Todibo is not going with France. Who else? Kakesh. I think Kakesh is with Hungary. I'm not sure if they're in the Euros. I think they are. Olise is not going. Zex is not going. So if we can, we should do our business. I expect us to do our business much smoother than we've been doing in previous years. So, what are the potential long-term and short-term impacts of the backing on Ten Hag, on club's performances and reputation? I think for now it's a big question mark on what's going to happen next. For me, it all depends on how this transfer window goes. I saw how our striker Højlund looks very good coming off the bench, and I can imagine how many goals he'll score. He looks like he can score a goal in every game he comes on after the 70th minute. He gives us more aggression in attack. He's not yet there in terms of starting. Yes, he can start, but he's not yet there where we want him. So I think if we can get this Xerxes striker from Bologna, I think we possibly might have a chance to fight for top two, possibly even the league, because as I saw Liverpool's squad last season, even just by our performances against Liverpool were not a better team than us. They were not a better team than us, to be fair. I'm sorry if there are any Liverpool fans here, but that was just my opinion. Liverpool weren't a better team. And I said that in many occasions, not once, not twice. It's just that the consistent injuries game in, game out, I don't see how people don't see that can affect a team. Injuries, yes, and I think there's going to be an overhaul as well at the medical department. I think some of his coaches are going to leave. Benny McCarthy for sure is going to be out because of some of the comments. If not some of the comments he made some crazy comments against the manager right after the season. So I think Benny McCarthy's out. He was always big ups to him, man. I have nothing against him, but man, we need proper proven European. Benny McCarthy was never a European coach to start. He was a coach in South Africa. To be honest, I never saw how he was going to help us improve when it came to attack. I have to be fair. This is not part of the stuff that I think have to go. Some of the backroom stuff. Because you can see Kieran McKenna, how he's doing. And he was the assistant manager right before all these guys came. Look at Michael Carrick. You get proven players in the league from the team that can actually make changes. Man, Benny McCarthy for me was the biggest red flag when Ten Hag came in. I don't know, it's because he played for Ajax then or what, but Benny McCarthy was not going to improve Marcus Rashford. He never scored those type of goals Marcus did. His type of coach, he was never even a stable coach in South Africa. I lived in a city in South Africa where Benny was coach, and they did really poor. I think they were relegated, the club was sold. So nothing against Benny McCarthy, man. I think now the doors are open for him back home. He can go back to South Africa and get his. But you will definitely see an improvement next season when it comes to our attacking play, because Benny for me was the red flag. I have to be fair. Benny McCarthy for me was a better man. Nah, Mitchell. Mitchell, you know what I'm talking about, Moss. What about his management? You know what I mean, Moss. I was in Cape Town when he was Cape Town City coach. He never did anything. He got relegated. And he was sacked. He wasn't... That for me as a man, as a coach, especially an attacking coach, yes, he might have had the badges, yes, but this is Manchester United, man. I think that's also part of the power that's going to come off Erik Ten Hag, is choosing your... I don't think he should be given a backroom staff. I think, probably the club should elect a backroom staff that's capable. Erik has proved some of his decisions if given, he can really, really mess them up. So let me get some of your predictions about Erik's future at the club and how INEOS' support might influence his success. I think we just have to back this guy more than anything. Now his job is not to talk. His job is not to have meetings. His job is not to talk to agents. His job is strictly on the field. I hope, I think that's Mitchell is saying they've taken all the power from him. He's just going to be a head coach, nothing more, and that's what we need. I'm happy with that. This power. When you see a manager comes to the club with all his backroom stuff, that's someone coming with power. And Erik's backroom stuff was questionable for me. As I said, Benny McCarthy as our attacking coach. I'm sure the guys lined up for him. I don't know how we ended up with Benny. Yeah, man, you can't compare Cape Town City with Manchester United, bro. Those are two things we cannot compare, Mitchell. Would you have had him as coach? Do you think Pep would have hired Benny McCarthy as coach for Man City? Because I know you're a City fan. Anyway, nothing. I think he's gone. Let him go do his thing in back home. I think he has a great future ahead. I don't know if he has a future in Europe, but yeah, some of these guys are just shocking. I predict us to finish top 3 this coming season. I think Liverpool are really gonna struggle because Arne Slot is not even half of what Ten Hag is as a manager. He's not achieved half of what Ten Hag has in the Eredivisie. I think this was the only season he had a stable season with Feyenoord. Mourinho beat him in the run to Roma's European success 2 seasons ago in the Conference League. So yeah, man, I think Van Persie would have been a better. I back you, man. If we had the option of getting Van Persie and we got Benny McCarthy, man, there's a serious issue there, because now we are gonna see Van Persie is now manager. I think he's gotten a team in Dutch football in the Eredivisie. I don't know which team he's gotten, but yeah, man, for me that there's a lot more to come. Hopefully, let me know what you guys think, man. I think I've talked about Erik in full. I've talked about where he went wrong, where he can improve. I'm gonna reiterate this again for the fans, is we need patience. We need to have patience as fans now. We need to control our expectations as a club. Manchester United has not won the Premier League in over 8 years. We need to realize that. Chopping a manager will not guarantee us a Premier League. If United was moving the way Chelsea did in the early 2000s, by chopping and winning the league, then I'd be in for that. But we have to manage our expectations. We have to be behind the board. I think the board knows more than we do in terms of what goes into the club. They've come into those offices. They've seen how things were run. They fired literally everyone in the backroom staff that was hired by the Glazers. Be it the CEO, CFO, everyone is gone. So it's a clean slate for United, for INEOS, for Erik ten Hag. I think he now has to prove himself. I won't be here to talk too much about his downfall as yet, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and if we go down that route with Ten Hag next season, I give him 2 months to see where we're gonna be. Let me just be fair, because we can't go more than I don't want to be in October and be miles off top 4, not even top 4, top 2. I want to be in and around there by the time he's had 1 or 2 months. Yeah, that's it, man. Thanks, everyone. Be sure to like. I'll be here Friday. I think I'll do a live tomorrow to talk about the Euros. I'm Team Portugal. I think we're going to win it. So, yeah, man. Thanks, guys. Adios.